On January 28, 1986, millions of people across the United States tuned in to witness history. The Challenger Space Shuttle was set to take 7 astronauts into space, including Christa McAuliffe, a teacher who symbolized the dream of ordinary citizens exploring the cosmos. But just 73 seconds after liftoff, that dream turned into a nightmare. The Challenger broke apart in mid-air, leaving a nation in shock and grief. How did this happen? What went wrong? And what lessons have we learned from one of the most tragic days in space exploration history? This is the story of the Challenger disaster, a tale of ambition, oversight, and the human cost of progress. The Challenger Space Shuttle was part of NASA's Space Shuttle program, an ambitious initiative launched in the 1970s. The program promised reusable spacecraft, affordable launches, and a future where space travel could become routine. By the 1980s, NASA was under immense pressure to maintain public support and funding. Each successful launch was a step closer to cementing America's dominance in space. Challenger's mission, STS-51L, was special for another reason. It included Christa McAuliffe, a teacher from New Hampshire selected to be the first civilian in space. Her involvement was part of NASA's Teacher in Space project, designed to inspire a new generation of scientists and astronauts. For NASA, Challenger symbolized hope, progress, and inspiration. But beneath the surface, cracks in the program were beginning to show. The Space Shuttle's design relied heavily on solid rocket boosters, or SRBs, to provide the thrust needed to escape Earth's gravity. These SRBs were assembled in sections and sealed with rubber O-rings, a critical component meant to prevent hot gases from escaping. But there was a problem. Engineers at Morton Thiokol, the company responsible for the SRBs, had noticed that the O-rings became less effective in cold temperatures. In the months leading up to the Challenger launch, concerns were raised about these seals. Data from previous flights showed that lower temperatures increased the risk of O-ring failure. On January 28, 1986, the temperature at Kennedy Space Center was a bitter 36 degrees Fahrenheit, the coldest launch day in NASA's history. That morning, engineers at Morton Thiokol urged NASA to delay the launch. They feared the cold weather could compromise the O-rings, but the pressure to launch was immense. Challenger had already faced multiple delays, and NASA was eager to keep the program on schedule. The warnings were ultimately overruled. As the countdown began, excitement filled the air. Families, reporters, and schoolchildren across the country watched eagerly, unaware of the risks involved. At 11:38 a.m., Challenger roared to life and lifted off the pad. For 73 seconds, everything seemed normal. The shuttle climbed higher and higher, its plume of smoke visible for miles. But then, disaster struck. A plume of gray smoke appeared near one of the SRBs, a sign that the O-rings had failed. Seconds later, the external fuel tank ruptured and Challenger broke apart in midair. Pieces of the shuttle fell toward the Atlantic Ocean as the world watched in stunned silence. The loss of Challenger's 7 crew members, Michael Smith, Dick Scobie, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Judith Resnick, Gregory Jarvis, and Christa McAuliffe, shook the nation. President Ronald Reagan postponed the State of the Union address to deliver a heartfelt tribute, saying, "The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us by the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them." In the aftermath of the disaster, the Rogers Commission was formed to investigate what went wrong. The findings were damning. The O-rings had indeed failed, allowing hot gases to escape and ignite the external fuel tank. But the root cause was deeper. NASA's culture of urgency and decision-making had overlooked critical safety concerns. One of the most haunting moments came when physicist Richard Feynman demonstrated the O-ring's vulnerability by dipping it in ice water during a public hearing. The Challenger disaster led to profound changes in NASA's culture and operations. The shuttle program was grounded for nearly 3 years, and new safety measures were implemented. But Challenger's legacy isn't just about the lessons learned. It's about the courage and dreams of the crew who lost their lives that day. The Challenger disaster reminds us that progress comes with risks, and that the pursuit of knowledge is never without cost. As we continue to explore the universe, let us honor the memory of Challenger's crew by striving for excellence and safety in every step we take. What do you think we can learn from this tragedy? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories of science, history, and human resilience. Subscribe for more stories of courage and discovery.